Welcome back to Inside the GA. I'm Grant May.
I'm Todd Gackey.
And we're here bringing you your legislative update each and every week. We just wrapped up the second to last week of the General Assembly here at the Virginia State Capitol. And we have a big update from that casino bill that we've been following up in Fairfax. So Todd?
Yeah. So the bill was originally, when it passed the Senate, it went to the House and they referred it to a General Laws Committee. And then it got re-referred to an Appropriations Committee. The bill was heard in a subcommittee where it failed it was PBI'd for the day, which essentially defeats the bill for the day. There is a possibility it could be resurrected, so we are keeping an eye on the bill. I think what's interesting is we had a number of people come out and speak for it, and then of course we were speaking in opposition to the bill, including Senator Boysko, who's been very outspoken on this bill, both in the Senate, and now she went over to the House committee and spoke in opposition to the bill.
Wow, and that's something that typically doesn't happen because Senator Boysko, for those of you who don't know, is a member of Senator Survell, who brought the bill. They're a member of the same party, and so she was speaking against his bill. Was there any fallout from that?
Yeah, interesting. The next day, Senator Survell had Senator Boysko removed from a couple of committees. And what we've heard, though, is that the Northern Virginia delegation is kind of split on this issue, where some might be for it, some are against it, because it's so controversial. It's being proposed for a very dense area, Tyson's Corner, close to where families frequent, where maybe even where a school might be. So they've been split on this issue because the voices of the people in Northern Virginia have been so loud on this.
Wow, that just seems like a lot of backroom politics there.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been following two different marijuana bills. They've passed the House and the Senate. Where do they stand now?
You're right. They passed the House and the Senate, so now they'll be going to the governor for his action. And he's been to his credit, he's been very strong in his opposition to marijuana commercialization. He gave a very impressive veto message last year on the same two bills that he vetoed last year. And then during his State of the Commonwealth address, he reiterated his position. And he even went so far as to say that the General Assembly was very hasty in decriminalizing marijuana, and that in fact the body should go back and revisit that and come up with better enforcement policies rather than commercializing this and putting a pot shop on every corner.
Wow, that's so interesting. One thing I've found interesting with this whole marijuana commercialization talk is the arguments for it are they're saying, well, we'll make it safer. Kids won't be able to get it on, from a shady drug dealer. They'll be able, we'll have safety measures in place. But it makes me think of, high school kids who have access to alcohol, college kids that get access to alcohol when they shouldn't. It just seems like by putting more marijuana on the streets, you're inevitably going to have more minors exposed to it.
Yeah, and if you look at states that actually have legalized it, like Colorado, for instance, if you look at the black market, they are by far going more and more over to the black market because they can get it at a cheaper rate. They can get higher concentrations of THC, get more young adolescents addicted to it. The marijuana industry, they need a new crop of individuals that are addicted to their products. So the whole argument that they're not going to appeal to minors or to adolescents is quite ridiculous because they need those individuals to be their next customers.
Right. Wow. All right. Well, we're heading to our last week of session. Bills are heading to conference. What are we looking for? What's our scouting report?
Yeah. Well, the big one is going to be the budget. So the budget's going to be going into conference and they're going to be hashing out the two versions, the version that came out of the Senate and the version that came out of the House. In the Senate, we're keeping an eye on skill games, neighborhood slot machines. That was put into their budget to try and legalize it and regulate it. So we're going to be working hard to try and make sure that that's not in the final budget, or at least get the governor to veto that. We're also going back to the casino. Because these conferences come together, they can still insert things into the budget that aren't necessarily in each report. Mm-hmm. So we're going to keep an eye out to make sure that no casino language is inserted into this budget. And then we're going to be looking to see what are they doing for families? Mm-hmm. What are they doing to lessen the tax burden? All of the governor's plans to reduce taxes were defeated this year and put in place were one-time rebates. What are they going to do long term to help families? And right now it doesn't look like a whole lot, and they have a surplus to work with. They have a surplus every year, and they have a surplus of revenue that they can work with to really lower the taxes of hardworking families. So we're going to be looking at that. And then bills that have passed, maybe if they have a Senate and a House version, they're a little bit different. They'll have to go into conference and work out those differences. And I'll do a little bit of a teaser. We're watching a bill that's actually going through the General Assembly right now. We're very excited about, and we haven't told anybody about it, but we're just going to let you know that this is a very, very exciting update that we're going to have. Hopefully in the coming days. I don't want to jinx us, but we're very, very excited about this. So you're going to want to stay tuned until next week.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned for our final episode of Inside the GA next week. Be sure you're following us on X at TFFVA. But for now, I'm Grant May.
And I'm Todd Gackey.